Thanks so much for being here. I'm Dan Slagle, one of Dwayne's sons, and it was nice to meet many of you and to have you share your memories and stories with me and siblings and family. And after I talk, I want to make sure you feel comfortable. I'd love to hear your stories just to share with the group. You don't have to come up here. You can just stand, or don't even stand. Just tell us what your memories are. We would love to hear that. But I would like to tell you some of my memories of Dad and growing up with Dad here for a few minutes. And Dad was a very friendly person. He had a smile for everyone, and usually it was the person right next to him. And whether he knew him or not, he would always have a hello and what are you up to, and engage in a conversation. Dad liked to tell stories. Usually he would go way back to high school, back to college, back to his Army days. I remember one story he talked about in high school. He did a lot of sports, and he lettered in his senior year in 4 different sports. And he went to a small high school, Flanagan, Illinois, and there were 6 boys in his senior class. That's okay, Dad. So barely had enough for a basketball team. I'd go down to the juniors and sophomores for football. But
Flanagan was a very, very small town. I've been in that town a few times. I told you he's somewhat related to me, but I can tell you, 6 boys in Flanagan would have almost been American.
Yeah, Dad was born in his house, and my mom was born in a hospital. And so Mom always had it over Dad, where she was born in a hospital. He told, I remember a story about an Army buddy that had 2400 vision, and Dad explained that he could see up close pretty well, but he couldn't see anything far away, even with his glasses on. And Dad and he were out swimming in up lakes one time, and a storm was coming up, and Dad said, we better get in, the storm's coming, and his buddy said, what storm? And he said, Dad, this huge black cloud's coming this way, and the guy couldn't see the black cloud. So Dad felt like he saved the guy's life. And then we heard these stories over and over again. Doug and David can attest to this. One was his uncle was walking through a field and was killed. It was a tragic story about he had an ornery bull, and the bull snuck up behind him and gored him and killed him. And Dad said his uncle had his hearing aids turned off, and so he couldn't hear it coming. And so, okay, so I'm formulating this, trying to come up with a life philosophy, from his stories. But I just couldn't do it. There was just a little too. There wasn't a common theme for being able to kind of pull together. Okay, here's how I'm going to live my life. But I think Dad would want to be remembered for his storytelling and his personality of getting to know people. He was also a devout family man. I remember he always came home right after work. He got off at 5, and he walked through that front door at 5:09, every day. And so I remember too, he liked He liked our sports. He was always involved in our sports. He taught us all how to play every sport, and he was our coach on many of our teams. I don't know how Doug felt about it. Doug and I were always on the same team because Dad was going to coach a team. He says, I'm going to get 2 of the 3 on there. So I don't know if he appreciated that or not, because we were always together. But I remember waiting at 5:09, waiting for the car to come driving through and pull up into the driveway. I'd have my glove and I'd have his glove, and I'd be like, let's go play catch in the front yard. And I'd have to wait for him to change his clothes. I would be impatient until he could get out of his work clothes and get into something to go out and throw the baseball in the front yard. But so he taught me all the basketball and baseball, and Dad particularly liked soccer. And when he first came to Sedalia, he didn't know anything at all about soccer. None of us did. We had to learn the sport all together from ground up, but it was fun. And again, Doug and I were on the same team and played a lot of years of soccer. And Dad loved that coaching. He loved soccer so much he became a referee after he finished coaching. And then, so I think Dad would like to be remembered as a family man, as a devout husband and father. And then he liked to fix things, and so I was always amazed at what he could fix. I remember one year, it was about my sophomore year in high school. I came home, it was early in the year, and I said something at the dinner table, and we always had dinner together every night, all of us together. And I said, my locker at school, it won't stay closed. You can close it, you can lock it, and then anybody that knows what they're doing, all you have to do is walk by and pull on that door and it opens. And I said, I feel like I'm going to end up losing something here. And so Dad said, well, right after dinner, let's go. He got his toolbox, and I thought, what are we doing? It's like, Dad, it's night, it's dark. The school is closed. It's locked up. There's nobody there. We can't go to school. And he said, well, let's just drive on down there. We'll see. And he had his toolbox, and I walked right next to him, and we tried the first door. It was one of those side doors, and it was not locked. We walked right in there. And I'm like, my eyes are big, and I am in so much trouble. And we walked down the hall. They were lit. I remember this very vividly. And there was a janitor there with one of those big trash cans and a broom. And I thought, oh no. And we walked right by him, and Dad said, hi, how are you doing? And the janitor just said hello, and we just kept right on walking. And then I showed him where the locker was, and he opened that thing up, and he got out a pair of pliers, he got out a screwdriver, and he's looking at those slots up and down, and where you move that thing up and down, and he could see, he said, somebody filed this off. There's a tab up here that holds this thing together. And he said, it's gone. They filed it off. And so he started tinkering around up there with his screwdriver, and he bent this tab over, and then he went down and bent that, and he tried it again, and it got closed, but then he bent some more, and then finally he fixed it. I couldn't believe it. He fixed it. So the locker worked great. We walked out of there, and I never heard anything from the principal, so we got away with it. I think Dad would want to be remembered as a fixer. And then one more thing, we always went to church every Sunday, and we always went as a family. And I know that he believed in God. I know he believed that Jesus Christ was his Lord and Savior. And I know it starts with, is God real? And I think you really got to think very, very long and hard about, is God really there? And I think he knew that, and I've done a lot of thinking and believe that we do have a God of the universe that loves us and cares about us enough to send his son to die for us and to be our Savior and save us from our sins and be our ticket to heaven. And Dad believed that, and I know he's in heaven right now. And so this is a joyful time. And so it's Psalm 100 is, shout for joy to the Lord, all the earth. Worship the Lord with gladness. Come before him with joyful songs and know that the Lord is God. And I believe Dad is right now shouting for joy. And I believe that he is giving thanks to God. And I think maybe he's telling God a story about one of his old college buddies. And maybe, I don't know, maybe God has given him a big job, maybe something to fix. I can't really think of, like maybe he's in charge of the Golden Gate Bridge. And just keep that baby working, Dwayne. And he's also, I'm sure he's got a tea time for this afternoon. So, thank you very much for being here and letting me share some of my memories. If any of you would like to share anything, we'd love to hear from you. Thanks.